Hey everybody, it's so good to see you today, or I guess I don't see you, but I'm hoping you're listening. Hey, it's June 23rd of 2023. Do you realize it's only 2 days into summer? For me, it feels like it's been a long summer already. A good summer, but certainly a long summer. Today, I really have an interest in what I want to talk about because I think it will help you. I think you'll get some value and information that, at least from my perspective. You know, I started management literally 45 years ago, and I have been from one position or another in management or ownership or leadership throughout this entire time. One of the things that I will tell you is this. I was talking to someone the other day, and I was talking about how an organization should run. And he said to me, "Well, Steve, in your day, I understand that, but that's just not how to do things today. Things are different today." And I I was a little bit stunned, and I sat there and I looked at him and I said, "But I think that would matter if I hadn't have been working this whole time." So in other words, I have lived the same days you have lived in business. And I hope that you understand that I'm not trying to come to you as some old retired guy that has information that in my day worked, but information that today makes sense, that is tried, true, and tested. One of the things that I see often, and by the way, I've always seen this, are buzzwords for each generation. Today, we're talking about important buzzwords like compassion and collaboration and empathy. And we're saying, how do you build a company with empathy, one that can collaborate and one that can innovate? And these are like the big words. These are the ones that say to you, I now am connected to my business. I'm holistic in how I'm doing something. But to me, whether it's those words or other ones that I'm sure you can think about, they're really just words. And they're no different words today than any other day that define behaviors that we want to incorporate into our business in a way that ensures that the business is successful. So you have to make a decision. Is my business first to be successful? Or is my business here to change the world? Is my business here for the entire group and staff? Is my business here for the shareholders, or is it here for myself? And you have to have honesty with yourself about that, because every single one of those things I just said, there are different ways to run a company based on those specifics. Now, underlying that, you can work within the context of what your principles and your integrity are, but you'll have a different outcome, for example, if or a different approach in how you're working if you're working directly for the shareholders primarily. Now, can you work for that whole group at the same time? Yeah, to some degree, you're hoping that you always can do that. That's that holistic approach. So let's talk about these things specifically, these buzzwords, and talk about what they mean in real life. Empathy. So I want to build a company that I can feel and I can say is empathetic. Now, that's generally a word. I'm not sure we all use it in the same context. So anytime you use what we're calling a buzzword, define what that means to you. So make sure that if we're talking about empathy, that you're talking about whether it's to your customer, to your employee, to your management group, to your shareholders, to any audience that you choose. But you absolutely cannot be empathetic to everybody all equally. It's just not really the way an organization works. So you have to make a choice. If I'm an empathetic manager, if I'm an empathetic leader or a company based in empathy, towards who? In my past company, in my current company at 𝗕𝗲𝘆𝐵𝑖z, we specifically take empathy and we focus that empathy and center it around the client, the customer. It isn't that we diminish our staff, and certainly we try to listen and be fair and involved, but the single center point at 𝗕𝗲𝘆𝐵𝑖z is to be empathetic to the client's needs. We call it promise keeping here. And so we've gone from taking a word that is the general buzzword, defining who that word pertains to, and then coming up with a purpose for that word, promise keeping, and then we follow promise keeping with how do we do it, meaning we put in training, process, approach, approval, all of the pieces that are required that we believe will resonate with the customer in an empathetic way. And so we define in more detail what that empathy means. And that's just one word. Let's go on to the next word about collaboration. So I do a monthly meeting with our company, and all of our staff anywhere and all the places of the world get together on a Zoom and we talk. Well, occasionally we've run into situations that I'm finding hard to manage through. And sometimes when it's apparent to everyone that that situation exists, I'll tell everybody in that company meeting, you're aware, I'm aware of this particular problem. I am not sure of the answer. And I'd love to know where you stand on this and what you would do about it. But not just what you would do about it in your position where you are, but try to step over a line to me because I'm the one that has to make this decision and I need your advice. So give me that advice, please. Everybody send it in. And I'll get a number of, actually all the staff will generally send it in. This last time I did it, one work group did not send anything in. And I said, how come? And they said, well, the reason is, Steve, the last time you asked for this, we sent in our deepest thoughts, our suggestions, and you did not do anything that we suggested. So essentially, why should we do this if we're not going to be heard? Well, I said, look, I'm collaborating with you. I'm asking for your information to help me be better at what I do. But you also have to understand that I'm getting 100 different suggestions coming in, and logic suggests I can't simply implement everybody's suggestion. And when I'm asking for your input, meaning a collaboration of thought, ultimately, all of that thought will result in a thing to do. And through your good works, I've been able to learn how best to implement change in our company collectively, but with the recognition that I have to make that decision. I have to make it. So I realized at that time that collaboration sounds great, but what I need to do is I need to define it if I'm going to use that term to a company in my company. I need to define, what does collaboration mean? Is it collaboration to my staff? Is it collaboration to my customers? Am I asking my customers to collaborate with me for their success? If I am, and you very well may do that, you need to define what collaboration means. So I want to collaborate with my client base, and here's what that means. When we do a scope of work, we want to sit down and we'll share with you exactly what our technology does. And then in our scope of work, which is the tool we use for collaboration, we'd like to understand how you intend to implement that, where it's meeting the mark and where it's not meeting the mark. And that to us is what we call collaboration. So I'm taking this general term that makes us sound cool, and I'm moving it into the realm of definition. And through that definition, I'm then getting to an outcome that meets everybody's expectations. So we have empathy and collaboration. Now let's talk about the last word, innovation. Innovation. I intend to what? Innovate a new product, innovate a new organizational approach. I mean, what am I going to innovate? And by the way, ask yourself, if there are structures in place and conventions that have been in use for many years, decades, maybe even longer, why? Why are they in place? Is it because no generation until the newest generation decided that innovation was necessary? Is it because innovation happens with every generation and then every generation changes what was from the past to the future? Is innovation an abandonment of the past and a recognition that we must invent to be successful? It's probably none of those things from the way I look at innovation. I look at innovation this way. So if I'm going to say I am a company with the ideal to innovate, I'm going to do kind of what I said. Am I innovating for my customer? Am I innovating to improve the likelihood of success for my staff? Is the likelihood of success for my staff connected to the benefits that my client will get at Noble Biz Promise Keeping, as an example? So in other words, again, I know it's very straightforward and sounds simplistic, but you have to define what innovation means. So if I am in contact center technology. We develop software for communications tools for contact centers. There are hundreds of systems that do some of which we do too. Am I coming into the market saying I am going to innovate within an industry where there are hundreds of systems doing something one way and I'm going to do it in an entirely different way when my customer base is used to doing it a certain way? Do I believe that if I can innovate, that will improve the industry, the customer, whatever that relationship is? So I have to define those things. So in my world, innovation is really not bleeding edge, leading edge. For me, innovation is taking things that have steadily worked and are dependable, because I'm a firm believer that that's what is required in business. And then coming up with additional approaches to how to use that dependable technology in a method that may improve your ability to get a better ROI. So it's very specific to that. That to me is innovation. So for me, if I'm saying Noble Biz is innovation, if I just say that, I'm going to be compared to every other product and I'm going to be told, yeah, but much of what you do is the same as every other product. So I kind of hurt myself by using that buzzword. But if I say that innovation is our ability to understand the environments we're selling to, and within that context, to be able to create with you in a collaborative method with our sense of empathy in what you're going through, to be able to strategize those feature sets and use them in a way that may and hopefully will benefit you. So we took the 3 buzzwords, we moved them into an example of how to use those buzzwords, and at the end of the day, we're now in a position to be able to not say we do more than what we do, but to show that we're on point and that we're interested, and that those buzzwords of empathy and collaboration and innovation have purpose within our context. I hope that helps a little bit as you're looking at all of your advertising, looking at all of the things that you think are important to you, from a guy that's been working all these years, seeing what works and what isn't working. I hope that you can take that, examine yourself, and slow it down a little bit and define exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, what you're saying, and what you mean, so you can have success too. You take care. I can't wait to talk to you 2 weeks from now. Bye-bye.